I don't know if looking back, we would have made so many changes right at the beginning. Okay. It was a lot. It's very expensive to rebrand.
Welcome to the Hidden City Podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Doug, and we're here to share some of the incredible stories and people from Oak Cliff that you might not know.
We're going to sit down with some of the visionaries, craftsmen, and business owners who have shaped Oak Cliff into what it is today.
Oak Cliff is on the south bank of the Trinity River, a few miles south of downtown Dallas. While technically it was part of Dallas, it was its own city for a long time, and it still has that independent spirit.
We'll dive into the history and the spirit of this place, exploring the different challenges and successes that defined it.
This is The Hidden City, a podcast about the people and the stories that make Oak Cliff extraordinary.
Well, welcome to this episode of the Hidden City Podcast. Today we're excited to have Allison Macalik with us on the show. She is the co-owner of Little Joy Coffee and Cafe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Here.
Thanks for jumping on with us. It's exciting to meet you and chat about Oak Cliff a little bit.
Yep, that's it. So, Allison, one of the questions we usually immediately ask is, how did you land in Oak Cliff?
Oh my gosh.
What was the draw?
Okay, so my husband and I are from Garland.
Okay.
You know where Garland is?
Love Garland.
Yeah,
We
Garland.
grew up off of Garland Road.
Yeah.
Okay, I grew
East
up
Dallas guys.
off Saturn Road,
Oh,
and
nice.
that's going to tie into Little Joy in just
is that
a
where
minute.
the Jupiter Bowl was? No. Where? Okay, never mind.
There's Showplace Lanes.
Oh, okay. That's
Jupiter
what that
Lanes?
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways.
I went to South Garland
Okay.
High School. Shout out.
There we go.
And I moved to Austin for UT. I went to college at UT. And then my husband and I were introduced on a blind date. So we were in Austin
cool.
for 10 years together. And we knew we wanted to have kids and start our family, but I was like, no offense to Garland. It's cool now.
Yeah,
Have you heard?
Garland's gotten really
Down
cool.
Glenbrook. I know.
It is.
I know.
Taco Vino,
I know.
Fortunate Son.
I know.
I mean, there's so many.
It's
I know.
cool. Garland
I want
camera.
to just go over
that
there.
Photo camera.
Garland
Yeah.
cameras still exist.
Yes, it's awesome.
I know.
They've like had a whole nother life to it.
Okay, so that's South
Yeah,
Garland. That's
yeah.
like on the border
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
Chili's where we grew
Yeah,
up. But
it's funny.
we didn't at the time. We were like, okay,
Yeah.
but we're like, where in Dallas fits? And after being in Austin for so many years, we were like, we have no idea. Like, we are local. We only shop local. We support local. Like, we're just, Austin kind of hippies a little bit. And so it was a Mardi Gras,
Okay.
2016.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we came with my sister and her husband. And we were just walking around. And I think we went to Encina.
Yeah.
I love it.
And we were just like, oh, look at these neighborhoods, going on a walk. And all the neighbors right there by Kid Springs is where we live. They were having a celebration.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this neighborhood?
Okay.
yeah.
Totally.
We did the parade. We did Mardi Gras. We came back and put an offer down on Monday.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was
Right away, you were like, "This is
Yeah,
it. This is the spot."
Man,
Yep.
we were just talking to someone about this, where it's like those festivals, the Mardi Gras, the barbecue, the Bastille and Bishop.
Yes.
They have like it's just
They really are
It's
a
special.
first
It's a-
experience for a lot of people.
Yes.
in Oak Cliff.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's such a fun day.
It's a
if it's
communal-
not raining, it's great.
Yeah.
Mardi Gras is
Or
awesome.
freezing cold.
Or
It's usually
freezing
so
cold.
cold. I know.
That's
I know.
true.
So,
Okay, cool. So right away, you were like,
Yeah.
"We're doing it."
and then we sold our house in Austin.
Cool.
And we built. So it was those PSW homes right there,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
watercolor. And we got the smallest house. That was the only one available. We're like,
Cool.
we're fine.
yeah.
And then we just never moved. Now we have 2 kids and we're on top of each other, but
Yeah.
we will never move.
it.
You
You
love
love
it
it.
there.
You love it.
We're right
Yeah.
there at the park. It's amazing. So
Oh, that's awesome.
we moved in
What a great-
2027.
Okay.
No, sorry.
2017.
17.
Yeah.
17.
17.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Austin Oak Cliff, you could feel the similarities.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd never felt that outside of Austin. Maybe like
Yeah.
Portland or New Orleans
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
feel.
sure.
And I was like, oh, this is it.
That's
and
awesome.
we never looked back.
Look at that.
Well, that's
I know.
awesome. That's awesome.
It's a comparison we've heard a lot of times on the show.
Yeah.
Is Oak Cliff and in Austin, which I love. 'Cause
Yeah,
Austin's
the
great.
hippie culture, the people shopping local. I mean, I think it's you want to know your neighbors and like buy
Yeah.
from your neighbors and
Yes.
like go to those places, and I think that's like valued here. And
For sure.
So,
Speaking of those
yeah.
places,
Yes.
Little Joy
Yes,
is one of those
yes.
places
Yeah.
that we love having in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's actually right down the street.
it
because
is. We're blocks away.
I know. When I come from Kid Springs, I always pass here, and I'm like, oh, I should pop in
Yes,
to
yeah,
the brewery.
Yeah, yes,
going.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it. I love it.
And turn on, like, I think, like, Ferndale right
Uh-huh,
there and
yeah,
cut over
yeah.
to Little Joy. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Ferndale's
every
a
day.
good cut through.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, tell us about Little Joy. I mean, it's an awesome neighborhood staple at this point. But
oh my gosh, thank you. So the story kind of starts watching Claudia and John Vega start Whose Books, and
shout out to those two.
Oh.
I love those two so much.
They're our neighbors.
Yeah, you
and
said
so,
neighbors, friends? Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
They moved in and I was like, hi, do you want to be my friend?
Hello.
And I got to watch Claudia. I think I was telling y'all, she had like a pitch deck at the beginning. And we went to Law Reunion and she was walking me through it. And I was like, you're so brilliant. You're insane. And a couple weeks later, she was like, I'm doing it by myself. I don't want investors. I'm doing it. And I was like, okay.
She's just going for it.
Yeah. So it was here.
It was here at Tyler Station.
Yeah.
Yes, it started. We've seen it grow.
Yeah. Like we were in there helping, like, I remember put up the fake grass, on the walls. Yeah. And then when they moved and just watching that experience, she kind of showed me that, like, we could maybe do this too. So fast forward, pandemic, I work in tech. So I'm a global director of a pre-sales team. My husband works in tech. He implements Salesforce. It's like our full-time.
That's cool.
Corporate jobs.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
I'm actually really good at my job, so I'm still doing it.
Sounds like you enjoy it too.
I do. I have a team. They're amazing. They're great. It's really fun. But Russ, he was like, I want to do something different. He loves to be active and work with his hands and just, he's like, I can't sit behind a computer all day.
Yeah.
And so tying it back to Saturn Road, we grew up on, my best friend from Garland opened up a coffee shop called Saturn Road in Brooklyn, in Cobble Hill.
Okay.
And we were investors in it. We still are.
Cool.
Last year, they just had their 1-year anniversary. Wow. So Russ really dove in and was helping her and Chelsea and really just learning from them. Yeah. Like, tell me everything. What's the cost of a cup of coffee? Where do you get your beans? How do you source? How do you... The little minutia things you don't even think about.
Yeah.
He
was into it.
Just this passion. Yeah. And so when at the time B-Side went up for sale, Russ had done an art show there. And then my friend Erica, Sutherland Studios, she does art here. She had her art show and the owners said they were selling. And I said, you should talk to Russ.
Yeah.
Seriously.
He'd probably buy it.
Yeah.
They were like, what? And I was like, I promise you he'd probably be interested.
Oh, that's so fun.
And so he ran all the numbers and all the things. And he was like, babe, we're buying a coffee shop.
That is awesome.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And so we say Little Joy's birthday is May 12th. That's her birthday.
Oh,
nice.
Of this year.
That's this year. Okay, how many years? What?
No, this year.
When?
This is the first
1 year
already?
Yes. Okay. No, like May, and now it's October.
Now it's wow, that's crazy.
It's funny because it felt like longer. I'm sure being the owner, you've probably felt that too.
Yeah.
But I just like how seamlessly it fits into the neighborhood.
Yeah. What was that transition like? Okay, it's like, hey, we're buying this business.
Yep.
Now let's go. What does that mean? What
does that mean?
Yeah.
Fun fact: we never closed one day.
Okay.
Ever. Like Russ was like,
it was always open.
Just like,
transition-wise.
keep going.
We thought it was important because that means so, especially to all our neighbors and friends in Elmwood, especially like that's like their block.
Yeah.
Like Cindy and Mondo, and then we have Herbie's, we have Irma's salon, we have the gym. Like this is like downtown Elmwood. Yeah. And then all the local businesses down there. It's so cool. And he was like, let's just fly this plane as it's flying. Like, come on.
It's just being built.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that. He sounds kind of like a little crazy cowboy in him or something. He's ready to go. Jump in.
Y'all will meet him. He's actually very calm and collected. Okay. I'm more of like the hey. And he was just so calm about it. And he was like, let's go. And then we opened on Mondays. So now we're open 7 days a week.
That's awesome.
Forever. We're just always open.
We're just always open. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how the timing too, just him having just dove into the business that you guys were investors in. He knew what to look for, and he kind of understood probably what needed to be done to make that transition work.
Yes, and we have an amazing team. There's no way we could have done it without the team. There's no way. Yeah. And they knew a lot more about coffee and making seasonal drinks. And one of our managers, Nels, she was helping us like change the coffee, and it's local, and they have a mission. And then now we do in-house syrups and things that I would never. Yeah. But it's like you surround yourself with people who know more than you. Yeah. That's what I do with my teams in the corporate world. I'm like, you're smarter than me. Come on.
Yeah. How do I get you?
Exactly. Like rising tides lifts all boats. Let's go. So that's kind of the mindset we've had.
Oh, that's
of
awesome.
This coffee shop.
So have you had other small businesses, you and Russ, before? I mean, or is this your first foray into we own this business together and we're doing it?
So it's funny. You know how you take those like personality tests on risk?
Yes.
I thought it was me that can handle, and it's actually him. Like, if he was here, you'd be like, you?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But in Austin, we opened up an Airbnb in our backyard. That was our first thing together.
Yeah, cool.
We remodeled a 1977 Argosy Airstream in the
love
backyard.
I love it.
And then we had people for South by, and it was insane. It was booked constantly.
Yeah.
That was wild. That actually might have been harder than the coffee shop.
Oh, than the coffee shop?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because people are like living in your backyard, and it
yeah.
was wild times.
I'm sure.
So we did that,
Yeah.
and then we sold it, and we're like, that was fun. And then I kind of went in the entrepreneurial world. And I have a company called 4 Under 3, and we do Fight Your Imposter workshops with my partner Hannah in Portland, or she's in Seattle. And then we have a podcast called Imposter Talks.
Yes.
We chat with people about their imposter syndrome. And then I was attacked by a dog on April 25th last year on Cedar Hill.
Okay.
And it was life-changing. Like, quit my job. I was at Salesforce for 5 years, just like my life turned upside down. And I was like, I want to talk to people about their own resilience. So started another podcast.
Yes.
I love being in front of the camera and the microphone. It's my favorite place to be. And all I do is talk to people about their own resilience stories.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's been fun. But this is the second thing Russ and I have ever done together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
It sounds familiar. You just like can't stop making new things.
Do y'all have ADD?
Probably.
Yeah, we've never been tested, but
never? Do you?
I would guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a thing called side quest with people with ADD, and
Great.
you just are like, I'm gonna go do this.
I'm gonna start a podcast.
Yes.
And go 56
Oh, is that
episodes in.
is that what we're
Allison,
dealing with here, Doug?
what do I need to subscribe to? Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And then another thing that we do kind of together, this was another side quest of mine when I was on maternity leave at Salesforce. We own property in Alabama.
Nice. Okay.
I own an apartment building and a triplex.
Wow.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why Alabama?
Russ went to school in Alabama,
Okay.
and we were looking at tier 2 markets.
Yeah.
Right before the pandemic, and then right in it, and Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham.
I know. I forget about it because it's like has its
there.
systems and everything,
Yeah.
but that's another thing. So I think
That's
that
amazing.
entrepreneurial spirit like lives deep within us.
Yeah.
I'd say the Little Joy is the most hands-on we've been with everything we've done. It's a lot. Y'all know.
Yeah.
Running a business.
Well, and I think businesses too, like they all have their different, like, I don't know, I would say joys, but like challenges. Have you found certain ones of your businesses being, like you said, the Airstream was like difficult at some points? Or are there ones that you're like, man, this has been really life-giving, or this has been really taking a lot? Yeah, what kind of pops to your mind?
I mean, I'm a big believer in two things can be true at the same time.
Absolutely.
So I think with the coffee shop, I think sometimes we underestimated how hands-on we'd have to be.
Yeah.
I thought it would be like the apartment.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like
Yeah.
sometimes podcasts, I don't want to film that day.
Yeah.
That's not how it is with a coffee shop that
Right.
opens every day from
Yeah.
6:30 to
Yeah.
4:30.
You're on
All the
and
time.
responsible.
Yes, and you're responsible for a team,
Yeah.
and then the experience and the food, and sometimes I come from corporate America, and sometimes we don't have these partners anymore, but they would just not deliver.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, oh, okay,
This just doesn't work.
thank you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the delivery guy's sick. Okay, thank you. Great. Let me, it's like
Yeah.
that. But then on the opposite hand, we do a lot of community events. So the shop is actually 2 spaces that were turned into one.
Yeah.
And so we have the coffee, but then we call it the community room.
Yeah.
We do events there
Yep. Book readings.
All the
I mean, yeah.
time.
What
all the time.
kind of
That's
events?
life-giving.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this weekend
Yeah.
we have 3 different 4. We just added a kids yoga class on Friday.
Nice.
There's a Tipsy Bloom. It's like flowers and espresso martinis, but it's like partners will put these on. And then we have a paint and sip, sugar
awesome.
candy skulls, and then we have a Halloween craft night. Now I used to do it a lot more, and now I've kind of taken myself out, and they get to do it, and they're empowered, and they have their own events, and it's amazing.
This episode of the Hidden City Podcast is brought to you by Oak Cliff Print. This is your neighborhood print shop for everything from business cards and flyers to posters, signage, and custom projects. I'm telling you guys, this is where we do all of our print work. So this is our go-to space. They're locally owned and community focused. Oak Cliff Print brings your ideas to life with quality, speed, and care. So whether you're a small business, an artist, or an event planner, whatever you need, they've got you covered. You can learn more and start your next project at oakcliffprint.com. How cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I mean, I love how active it is. I feel like the programming is such an essential part of small business. I mean, we've seen that with Wax Space and the brewery and everything else. It's like just giving people reasons to come and enjoy your space and be there can be a big part of it, actually.
Yeah,
for sure.
You mentioned earlier you bought the coffee shop, and it came to mind, you know, obviously we bought Wax Space early in the day from Matt Bull and Bo Bartlett, who started it.
And Gary Buckner.
Third partner. And this idea of entrepreneurialism through acquisition is kind of an interesting idea, I think, because yes, you can go start a business. It's really hard to start a business, I think.
It is.
But there's also options of buying businesses. And so I'm kind of curious how that experience has been for you, and, you know, if you have any tips or thoughts that you might give now that you've done that.
Okay, I don't know if looking back, we would have made so many changes right at the beginning.
Okay.
It was a lot. It's very expensive to rebrand. It's very expensive to kind of come to a place with your vision. And sometimes I wonder if we had just done it on our own from the beginning this way versus this was an established business and now we're going to do something different with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask me next year how I feel. However, I do love that because it wasn't already a coffee shop before.
Right.
I don't know if we would have ever taken that step on our own. And then this opportunity presented itself.
Yeah.
I don't know if like, hey babe, let's go start a coffee shop today.
Here's this empty building over here. Let's go. There is like a.
I think that's a really important point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I could probably say that about us and Wax Space on some level. I mean, like, you know, that opportunity presented itself in a way, and, you know.
Absolutely. It's almost kind of like you said, you're at an art show and you're like, oh, he might be able to get it. Or like you're like, there's this presenting where it's like, oh, here's an opportunity. And you're just kind of putting yourself in the right places, and you never know what can happen on some of that.
I'm also like a good riffer and a good like yes-ander and a good like let's go, you know, kind of like you think about improv. I'm not an improver, but I just kind of like those principles. I'm not a great of like, here's an empty slate, let me just create something. Like my brain doesn't really work that way. However, if it's something that exists, it's like I can riff off it and like, oh, I kind of want to make it this and I want to make it this. Yeah. And Little Joy is a name that Russ and I had last summer when we kind of disappeared for a while after the dog attack. We spent 6 weeks in Europe with our kids, and we just kind of like healed. Like I couldn't use my hands. I couldn't do really anything. It was wild. But every place we went in Amsterdam and Montenegro, everything was involved, intentional with children, everything. And we have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and at the time 5 and 3. Yeah. And so everywhere we went, cafes, restaurants, there would be a playground.
So it's family oriented in some way.
And we were just brainstorming one night in Montenegro of like, if we ever did this on our own, we would call it Little Joy. And that's just what we would do, like the little joys in life. And that just kind of stuck in our head, you know? And so then when, you know, things started falling into place, it was like, let's make it Little Joy. And so one of the first things we did was we bought a very nice, very safe, very expensive play place. However, it was like, this is for the children. They are welcome here. This is intentional. It's safe. And so that was kind of not planned, but kind of planned. Does that make sense? Like,
it does,
No, I think no, it's designed. Like it's like some places, and maybe you're saying even from your travels, it's like some places welcome the family into a space that is been designed in a certain way by having a playground here or this.
Yeah.
And I for sure, Little Joy, I see that being one of those places that's like, hey, it's all together. I think of Chinzo's too, where you go out there and it's the picnic tables are there and the families are all playing. And you're like, this feels like a neighborhood. This is good. Like there's something right about it.
And you'll see, I mean, we're there usually on Fridays. Like after school, it's like we all just move locations to Chinzo's.
Yeah, I know. No, that's
or we go to the brewery.
That's it. We're trying to design more
for sure.
Family kind of stuff.
But that's again to your point. It's like I don't think we would have been like, yeah, we should do this from the get-go with the brewery and maybe a kid's space. But it's like, no, that's what families are. You know, families are coming. And families are using the space, despite the fact that there's maybe not a whole lot for kids. So it's like, oh, well, we should listen and start to respond to that.
Yeah, I think places like Chinzo's and Little Joy, too, where it's like it shows you even how starved the families are for places or those third kind of spaces. I think the farm, too, does a great job where people are going out there. And it's just like, oh, there's places for families, and we value that in this area and with businesses. And so that's awesome to hear.
Well, one thing I was thinking about this interview and like this podcast of like what makes Oak Cliff so special to me is I feel like I'm constantly surprised, like every day. And I've lived like we literally have a golf cart. We sold Russ's car. We do not leave Oak Cliff at all. Like we are like in our golf cart. Just the laws changed in January, and you can have a golf cart on roads under 30. Just FYI. Yes, that's why you're seeing more golf carts now.
Great. Well, we need
Elmwood
golf cart. That's for sure.
This needs to happen.
Yes.
You won't even need one. You'll be so close.
I know.
But I know all the back roads. I take the golf cart to Little Joy. Oh, Russ is on it today.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
So much fun.
Okay.
But the point is like. This is our home. This is like we live here, we give here. We are like super involved in the community. But what I've noticed, especially over the last probably 5 years and maybe just having kids and being in it, it's like so many more spaces are becoming family friendly. Like just this, we went to Sky. She owns La Bodega.
Yes, of course.
It's one of our good friends. We went to her wedding.
Yes.
And that was the first time I went to Elmwood Farms. And I'm like, what is this magical?
Yes,
I've lived here
down the street
for almost 10 years. I didn't know. And then I took my daughter with some girlfriends to the Oak Cliff Art Walk this weekend.
Oh, how was that?
It was incredible.
Awesome. I know.
There was so much stuff for kids. Davy, she's 4. She had a blast. And like that. And I'm like, I am continuously surprised by this little mini city.
Yeah. Yes.
It is a little city too.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, it is truly like, it's amazing to see. I think first off, like how many families are here now, or maybe have been, but I think it's grown and grown and grown in that demographic. It feels like, at least in the time that I've been
seeing, here. The friends like AJ, he's been on the show, and it's like the art walk that he's put together, and like what you guys are doing, and Chad who's been at Chinzo's, and you're like all these things are getting.
I know it's
getting more and more special over time. I feel like
I do feel like part of it is the owners are often have their own kids and are thinking about that, and so it's like. Oh, well, there's a lot of people who own businesses that have kids in this area. So it kind of naturally happens too.
I know. Yeah. And then on Sunday, we went to, there was a fair going right by Tejas right there.
Yeah.
And so we took the golf cart over, took the kids. They got Labubus. I was like, oh my God. Like just these things that, 10 years ago, I wasn't thinking kids, but now it's like so prevalent. It's like all our friends have kids. Yeah. All our business owners have kids. Yeah. Let's like make it fun.
Yeah.
Let's all partner. But that's the other great thing.
Grant just got married. Let's have
kids. I'm ready.
I know.
We've been to a lot of schools at Oak Cliff. I can tell you all the schools.
Great. Yeah. I'll have to download that from you and Doug.
That's too funny. No, I agree. It's pretty sweet. And I also think too, of just like these little moments, like the deck park that's coming up that April's been putting together. It's like that's got family oriented as well, and it's getting sweeter and sweeter. So,
so you're working full time. So's Russ. How do you manage small business while working full time?
Ooh,
we're asking that for ourselves too.
And if you have any advice for me personally, I could use it now.
So I tell my team, I lead a team of 7, and they're about 10, 15 years younger than me. It's a younger team, and I'm like, prioritize your mental health. Don't burn out. I've burned out twice fully in my career. Like I know the warning signs. And then they'll say like, well, what about you? And I'm like, Look over there. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What do you mean?
No, but you should do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say a lot, I'm kind of like a duck, like very calm.
Yeah.
And then in my feet, I'm like,
Yeah.
a million things running through my head and
Right.
like fully operating on all cylinders at all times.
At 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Like last night, like I'm doing a big workshop this week and I'm thinking and reviews and then this podcast, and and we have events this
It's
weekend.
just go.
Totally.
Yeah.
So one thing I do love is like when you go into business with your husband, you get to like, you're kind of just enmeshed in it.
Yeah, you're in it.
However, we have learned we've had to have boundaries. Like we can't just always talk about the shop. Like that's not fun.
Right.
So we talk about the shop, 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And like, that's it. That's it. And then if we have something, we add it to a Google Calendar or a ongoing Google Doc. Like we'll talk about that during our time.
Nice.
And I only check, so I run the Instagram and the Facebook and I only check it at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Yep.
Okay.
Like I can't.
Always be on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I also have a coach.
Nice.
I have a therapist.
Yeah.
We carve family time. We make time for trips. Like we have these systems in place and we fight hard for our time too.
That's
as a
awesome.
family. It is not easy.
Yeah.
But it is important.
No, that's such a good way of looking at it, that not only to say I need to put some boundaries in place, but like as a family to fight for that.
Yes.
I love that. I mean, Doug.
No, it makes sense.
We are business partners.
Yes. Yeah.
But you were also a business partner with Kelsey.
Yeah.
Your wife in the TX studio.
Yeah.
So you know
TX
a little bit about
this. I was thinking about all this when she was talking, because Grant's my brother, and I was in a couple of businesses with family now, it seems like. And so, you're thinking of like good, healthy boundaries, but then also it is like, we'll be swimming at the pool in like the parents' house at the weekend.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, how about this idea or this
Yeah.
idea? Like you can't sometimes turn it off because your mind's just like kind of excited about it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a way to figure out some of these things.
Like an ongoing Google Doc or like a text message thread. Like that's very helpful for us.
Yeah.
We have shared folders.
Yeah.
We have put it in here.
Yep.
Like this is like our time.
Yeah.
But also though, the kids are with us all the time.
They're seeing
they were up with us at the shop this, usually most nights, because we close at 4:30, and so we're up there.
That's
and we were
cool.
hanging like a magical thing that you can do the wand with the lights, like for the kids, and they were testing it. Like so, they're
there.
Yeah, and part of their childhood.
The kids they're eating bratwurst and pretzels out
At
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, this is
that's
just
right.
what's gonna happen.
And so it's fun. It's just, but like this weekend we are gonna go out of town with a bunch of our friends and like disconnect and.
So
that's
making time
awesome.
for that too.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we can't be the people who just always talk about coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's lame.
This episode of the Hidden City Podcast is brought to you by Oak Cliff Pilates, a community that moves with you and for you. From the original Oak Cliff studio in Bishop Arts to their uptown location to the brand new space in Lower Greenville, Oak Cliff Pilates meets you where you are. With small group reformer classes and experienced instructors, every session is designed to both challenge and support you. Find your class at oakcliffpilates.com and use the code HIDDEN to save $10 off your class package.
So as we're thinking about Little Joy, you have added sandwiches to the menu.
Mm-hmm.
You've added a few other things to the menu, and maybe you have plans to add more. We don't know. How do you make decisions about what you want to offer, how you offer it, and tell us about the evolution of things.
Yeah, it's kind of just what people ask for. So there were sandwiches being made at the time when we took over.
Okay.
And we just really decided, okay, we want to make, homemade or handmade focaccia bread. And we just kind of want to elevate different things. So we worked with a chef, a Michelin star chef, to come in and do our menu.
Wow.
So we did that.
Amazing.
So a lot of his sandwiches now we make in-house were from him. And then, but we heard constantly, bring back the chicken salad. We're obsessed. And we were like, okay, y'all win. Let's bring it back. So
Yeah,
like we
bring it
have
back.
that.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then some of the signature drinks were there before. They're named after Elmwood, the Mayor,
Yes.
the Vaughn, that's my friend Tiffany, the Golden Hour, and then there's, I think, the Elmwood.
Yeah.
And those are like staples. Those
Yeah.
are going to be,
They're there.
that's it. One thing that we do change now, though, are the seasonal, and that really comes from our baristas. They're like, hey, I have this idea, the Purple Meadows matcha. It is so good. And that was an idea from Nels, one of our baristas, and that is now becoming signature because it is the number one requested drink that
awesome.
we sell.
Wow.
And then we're like, okay, that can't just be seasonal.
Yeah,
that
we need to
has
bump that up.
Right. And so now we have 3 new drinks for fall. And we have a autumn spice. It's called the carrot cake latte. It's very good.
Wow. Sounds good.
A pumpkin maple, and then we have a apple butter cider that's incredible.
That's awesome.
So, and these are again,
What fun drinks.
yeah. And then making syrups in house again came from our staff. Like, hey, we really want to do this. We're passionate about this. Great. That sounds amazing. And then people asked, hey, this coffee is amazing. Can we buy it? Yeah, that's a great idea. It's now we sell the coffee. And then
you're constantly listening to what people are saying.
Yeah.
yes, it's literally me and Russ. At first we had outsourced our Instagram and didn't go well. We had a thing happen. It was not good. And I said, we're taking it back over. We have no bandwidth, but we're taking it. But doing that, like, I can hear from them. I can hear from people constantly.
Yeah. What they like,
Yes. And I've talked to other small business owners, and they're like, people in Oak Cliff like to share their opinion.
Yeah.
And if they don't like something, they're going to tell you.
Isn't
And
that
they
true?
do.
Yeah.
They tell us what they like. They tell us what they don't like. And we say, hey, this is for y'all. Like, this is literally our love letter to Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, this is Allie and Russ. It's like, this is for the community.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you tell us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know what I like.
Yeah. But
you
that's
know.
cool that you're so receptive to people. And I think it is important as a small business when you're in it to not get too disconnected from the day-to-day feedback and what people are saying. Because, you know, the brewery did this.
There's a balance there.
Yeah.
Because I think
sure,
there's
for
like the tastemaker side of you is like, I'm going to work with this focaccia bread Michelin star person. But then the other side is also like, hey, what is selling or what do people want? And how do you even kind of mix and mash some of that together too sometimes?
And they're like,
Throwing some taco deli. I feel like you've been coming in with
thank
these.
you for having the taco deli.
This guy's he comes in with taco deli. I'm like, where'd you get that? He's like, oh,
Little Joy's
right here.
carrying taco deli.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that actually, it's like, oh, it looks so easy. That just hit, right? No, that was months of working with vendors and letting all the regulars try the different tacos and have their thoughts and everything. And finally, a regular was like, could you just please do taco deli tacos? And we were like, sure. You know what?
Like,
and it's so easy. It's like, thank you for that. You know,
people are obsessed with taco deli.
I know.
So it's like
but
I love that you were like, hey, we tried this other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But now we're also willing to like kill that project, go this route, and if people like it, people like it. It's great.
I think that's something I've learned. It's like
You're smiling at me.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm just smiling because I love taco deli.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't, honestly?
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
so good.
It is.
But it's kind of like a lesson in ego of just like, okay, let me give you an example. In pre-sales, I've been in pre-sales for over 10 years. I know what works. I know how to do a framework. I know how to sell. I know all of it, right? It's like, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
In this world, no way.
Seriously, yeah.
Like, it cannot be, this is what I think is going to work. It's like, it could change every day. It could change with the weather. It could change with the partners or the vendors. Like, it's just very, very different. And having to turn my corporate brain off and my, almost like my community brain on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's almost kind of like code switching a little bit, but it's been a good lesson in ego and patience.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. It's really good.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, I feel like no, I relate to it. You were saying the brewery at some point was like
just like the importance of not getting disconnected from customers and customer feedback, because I think the brewery did go through this where had a distributor who was delivering the beer and doing all the customer service side of it, and it's like a big black box. Like, you just don't even know.
There. You don't know what's
really happening until the brewery regained its distribution rights and took that back over, and now has this like incredible connection that it was
need beer.
Didn't even
call
realize
us.
it.
Literally, just call
exactly.
Great Night.
But didn't even realize it was missing.
Yeah.
And you're hearing so much more feedback. And you're like, we're like, oh my gosh, what? Like, where was this?
Yeah.
And so, I just think it's an important thing to not lose hold of while you grow too. But
we've actually rented a keg.
Nice.
For my son's second birthday.
Nice.
Yes.
At Oak Cliff Brewery.
There we go.
I love that.
It was
good
for
work.
us.
Good. That's the best early childhood birthdays is when they have the keg.
It was a baby shark. It was during the pandemic.
Yes.
And we had it outside, and I was like, okay, just wash your hands. We're having a kick.
Yeah, this is happening.
We need this.
Well, tell us a little bit more. I know Little Joy, but that whole downtown Elmwood area, what's happening? I feel like there's a lot of momentum with you guys on that street.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, downtown Elmwood, there's about, I'd say, 65 business buildings down there.
So many of them. You look at it on Google Maps and you're like, it is insane looking.
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's awesome.
It's a district of sorts. And so, but yeah, you have places like Green Pet and Cactus and others, but that street in particular, I feel like there's just so much energy happening right now.
I know.
But yeah, tell us, what's it like being in downtown Elmwood and what's happening down there?
It's so much fun. So, we live at Kid Springs.
Yeah.
And so we would come down to the coffee shop before, we took over because I could get a coffee and the kids could play. But I never had really gone to the other businesses. And then as soon as we took over, I was like, well, this is Oak Cliff. Like, all our neighbors, you're our friends instantly.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh no, how do we feel? And I'm like,
yeah,
we're about to be best friends.
We're neighbors. We're neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of our mindset is like, you're in the family now.
That's cool.
And we do events and we had our first block party.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we've gotten just to know everyone and they're so kind. Like Irma, Miss Irma, she's been in that spot for over 20 years on the corner.
Oh my
Awesome.
And now Noah gets his haircut there and Davey gets her hair and we send friends there and she got the kids presents the other day and then I brought her a plant. Cool. It's just like, and then Cindy and Mondo were constantly doing events and what can we do? And we did a Magic the Gathering with Herbies and like just...
Yeah, Will's special.
Yes.
And Cindy, too. Cindy did a Texas Talk here.
And Mondo, they're awesome.
They're
the whole
incredible.
corner is such a special corner.
Yes.
Oak Cliff.
And so the next thing coming up is the Elmwood Holiday Fest on December 6th.
Great.
Nice. Okay.
And that's going to be gigantic.
Everyone mark their calendars for December 6th.
It's 11, I think, to 5. But there's going to be over 40 vendors there.
Oh,
We're going to block the
that's
streets.
awesome.
And
Wow.
Yeah. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's one of the special things that's growing in Oak Cliff, too, right now. And is kind of coming together is this downtown Elmwood area.
Yeah.
So that's so awesome.
I know.
And to have a lightheartedness about it, too.
Yeah.
Because it is hard to run businesses. And like it is not, especially I think after the pandemic, it's like the costs are high, whatever. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Never was easy. But I think you have like a cool, mentality towards other businesses and just how to kind of like, hey, we're all in this together. Let's all be.
I feel that at Tyler Station too.
For
like
sure.
Kind of similarly, where it's like, hey, that attitude is so helpful. Where it's like, I want success for this business next to us, and they want success for us, and how do we collaborate or work together if they want to do that?
Right.
And I think of even little things like the brewery. It's like, hey, let's hire Steven who does the ceramics and do the mug club with him that's down here, and like you said, doing something with Will at Herbie's. It's like it makes total sense.
I know.
You get to share.
So I have a mantra. I'm big on mantras and woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that could be a whole nother podcast.
Oh, that's Austin. That was 10 years in Austin, right? Yeah.
I know. Last night was a full moon. It was
There
gorgeous. So, in case you were wondering, but one of my mantras right now is release the fear. There's more than enough, and you can apply it to anything. There's more than enough opportunity. There's more than enough people. There's more than enough in Oak Cliff. That it's not a competition. It's like, we're in this together, and just to kind of have that mindset, it's been really helpful from out the gate.
That's good. The abundance mindset. That's good.
Yes.
No, that is the abundance mindset. I remember like learning that from when I did freelance photography for about 6 or 7 years, and that was one of the things too, where it's like, man, this person's getting this job or this person's getting this job, and it could be very competitive, like in the community that we were in. But after a while, you kind of like let that go, and you're like, oh, actually, this is the best for them that they got this, and that might bring in other opportunities. And there was like a little bit of a, maybe not an ego dying, but like a mindset of just there's a lot here for us. And you don't have to take someone else down to like go after and build something.
Exactly.
So,
my coach says that small business owners, you're going to have ego death once a day at least, or you're not growing. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. And it's true. It's like every day you go in thinking this is going to happen, and then it's like something wild happens.
Oh,
or
like Disney Switchyards moves in down the street. You're like, like that's like, what's going to happen there? But
it is one of those fun. I think if you learn to embrace it, it can be a fun part of the entrepreneurial journey. It's just never the same. And so you show up, and then it's like, okay, there's this new opportunity, a problem, however you want to call it,
abundance
thing that's happening that I need to kind of think about, it's, you know, I always think of like you're either shrinking or you're growing. And so this idea that like any stagnant business is really probably shrinking, even though it maybe doesn't look like it right away. And so there's always,
I always hated that one.
Yeah, I know you don't like that one, but I think it goes to show that like you're always kind of on a treadmill when you're in a small business. Not to say that you can't take breaks, because you have to take breaks or you're going to burn out, like you were saying earlier. But it's just a different environment than corporate America. You know.
We say a lot that we are that meme of Ross who's like pivot, like with the couch, you know, on Friends, and he's screaming pivot.
Pivot. It's
every day, every single day. Like literally today I ordered DoorDash, you know, to myself this morning because I had a huge workshop, and I was like, but I want coffee, and so I DoorDashed it, and I was like, babe, the Taco Deli tacos aren't on the DoorDash menu yet. And he was like, pivot. Like that was his first response back was the meme. And I'm like, because we forgot. Because we just, and the seasonal drinks aren't on DoorDash. And it's like,
that's it. We're getting in the golf cart.
Yeah. It was really fun when it was delivered. I was like, hello, this is for me.
Yeah. You're like, oh, why, thank you.
Oh, thank you, my coffee.
That is hilarious.
But it's really just like, okay, that was a miss.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. It's just so different than like growing up in corporate America and being the boss.
Yes.
And just kind of putting that aside and like, I cannot have that expectation and just like,
yeah, it's going to be okay.
It's okay.
There's an imperfectness to it. And there's back to that abundance side of things where it's like, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. Well, what does the next few months look like for Little Joy? What do you hope Little Joy's impact is maybe, or what would you like to see there, maybe in downtown Elmwood, but also at your storefront for the next foreseeable future?
Yeah. Great question. We are thinking about that constantly. We are looking at getting a coffee cart that has the ability to have a actual espresso machine.
Cool.
Nice.
Because sometimes when we pop up, we can only do cold brew, drip, or matcha. We have a big pop-up coming with Soul Cycle.
Oh, nice.
And luckily, they just want matcha.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
This works.
We got you.
Yeah. This works great.
But we're doing Boo Bash, and we can't do lattes because we don't have that ability to yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're working with a guy out of Houston on a custom cart. So that's coming.
Cool. Wow.
We're also, why we haven't pulled the trigger is because we also love to be able to sell beer and wine.
Nice.
And getting a beer and wine license.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're very well familiar. It's tricky, and we're working, partnering with Herbie's and Wilkes, just trying to figure out what that looks like with the city.
Yeah.
So there are other options like to the cart. You could have the permit.
Interesting.
Social clubs, different things.
Yeah.
Just trying to. It's almost. I was telling Russ the other day. It almost feels like a domino has to fall, and then sometimes these dominoes to get it are completely out of your control.
Yeah.
There's a piece of paper on someone's desk at the city right now
Oh,
that we cannot impact if we want to. So that, and then you have to pivot. You have to get creative on what could we do in the meantime.
Yeah.
So coffee cart, until we have beer and wine, makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
A lot more events. And then we're talking about possibly a second location.
Oh,
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
fun.
Cool.
I'll have to come back in a year
Yes,
and let you
yes,
know.
come back and tell us.
But we're really getting all our systems figured
That's
out
awesome.
and our providers and
Yeah.
the roasters and cups and
Yes.
But
All the things.
But once you figure that out and can pin it down,
Yes.
that makes total sense.
Season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's it.
You'll have to come on when the dog bites
Oh,
and you can
yeah.
talk about resilience
Let's
on
do it.
my
We're
podcast.
game.
Let's do
We're
it.
game.
We're so down.
Yeah.
So
We'll have to link to your podcast in
Great.
the show notes.
Yeah.
Too.
Great.
But
for sure. Well, Allison, this was awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and everyone go to Little Joy and get some of those awesome fall drinks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And your taco Deli.
And
Yeah.
Taco Deli.
Oh,
I
goodness.
just get
That's
endless
it.
promotion.
I know.
Taco Deli.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you
It's
so
fun
much
chatting.
for having me.
Thanks.
It just felt like old friends chatting
That's
in here. I
great.
love it. It's so
a good
cozy.
time.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Hidden City. We hope you discovered something about Oak Cliff that you didn't know. If you enjoyed the show, I hope you subscribe to it on YouTube and then follow us on any of the podcasting platforms. Also, if you enjoyed it, please share with a friend, and thanks so much for tuning in.